What's up, everybody? Can everyone hear me? If you can hear me, can you would you mind posting it in the chat here on YouTube or over in Moneyline? Trying out a new mic here. Just want to make sure that you guys can actually hear me on it. Awesome. Yep, everybody can hear me. Sweet. All right, cool, guys. Welcome in. This is our Sunday scan that we do for Moneyline trading. We do this every single Sunday. This is part typically of our premium membership. These Sunday scans every single Sunday are what will come with the premium membership. On top of that, also we do pre-market huddles during pre-market, live trade every day, and then we also do weekly classes on Thursday. Last week it was a Futures 101 class, futures seminar, how to trade futures. This week, awesome, good quality mic, sweet. It's a brand new mic that I got, so I'm glad, Thomas. This week we're going to be having a swing trading class with Darth. Darth is going to talk about swing trading with options and how to leverage time on those contracts to realize profits on them. So for those that are interested, that'll be this Thursday evening at 9 o'clock. All of our educational sessions happen at 9 p.m. on Thursdays, and all of them are recorded. So if you are not able to make it at 9 live, it will be recorded and stored for you in one of our channels that has a library of all of our prior classes. All right, so let's get into it. A couple of things I want to talk about this week, kind of what happened last week. First off, we did have some earnings last week that were interesting. Let me go see if I can find Discord for you guys and pull up. Let's see. Just want to pull up earnings and show you guys. Sorry, I think I passed them. Here we go. I just want to pull up earnings this week and show you guys what we are working with earnings. I don't know why Discord's taking a while tonight. It's taking a while on my phone too. So last week, right, we had Netflix earnings. This week, things that I'm watching going into this week, big earnings for me are going to be 3M, watching this one. Watching Boeing as well on Wednesday. We have Tesla Wednesday after close. Tesla's going to be huge. Southwest American, a lot of the airlines are going to be reporting this week as well as JetBlue, Alaskan, Northrop Grumman. I also think we have Lockheed Martin this week at some point. Yeah, here we go. Tuesday after close, and then we also have Microsoft as well, Tuesday after close. So as always, guys, I think it's gonna present itself an opportunity for us to flush a few names. IV flush. 2 weeks ago, UNH went 2,000%. Citibank, a few of us grabbed that. I got stopped out on it, and then a few that were actually in it picked it up, 250% gain. So that was a massive play. Last week, Netflix was a big play for us. Friday morning on Netflix, we took that one 120%. And then we played Google pretty well. So to kick off this week, what I'd like to do is kind of talk about what happened last week, and want to give you guys basically some recaps of some of the trades that we took. So let's take a look at Coin first, since we're here. Okay, Coin on the 5-minute. If you guys remember, on Wednesday of last week, Coin came up and tapped this high level mark here at 57.33, right? We tapped the highs and we started to fall down from this level. And if you remember, when we broke through VWAP right here, see this green line is VWAP. I had mentioned that Coin was looking, nasty on the 10-minute time frame. So let me show you the 10-minute and show you what that looks like. Right. Here's a 10-minute chart, right? Push up, push up, push up. By the way, as we're pushing up, check out the volume down here. We're lowering volume, right? We push up, we push. We get to this key level, 57.33, and then we put in a buyer exhaustion candle. So buyer exhaustion candle, you guys hear me talk about this all the time. What this means is that buyers get exhausted at the top of these candles on any time frame, but specifically here a 10-minute time frame, right? So within this 10 minutes, where we opened here, we tried to push all the way up, right? We sold all the way back down, and we closed here, right? So the candle itself, right? We put in a high of 57.33, but we closed the candle at 56.14. So more than $1 off of the highs of that candle. And after I saw this 10-minute candle, I mentioned, right, going into the 10:30 hour, that Coin could be a really interesting short here. Why? Because of the 10-minute buyer exhaustion candle that we just looked at, right? Let me go back here so we can see what we're looking at. So because of that buyer exhaustion candle, right? And then going into the 10:30 candle, I mentioned when we wicked off of this, right? Remember the buyer exhaustion also on the 5-minute lowering volume. So volume's pushing down, price is pushing up. Typically what I like to see there is a rejection at a key level, which is what we got, right? And then, like I said, on the 10-minute, we saw buyer exhaustion. On the 5-minute, we cracked down through VWAP. And this is where I started to get interesting, right? Because I was like, okay, now we're starting to pick up some sell volume here in these two candles on that 10-minute where we wicked off of that level. And I mentioned that what I was looking for now was a move back to our opening print spot. Opening print is basically where the initial price is at the 9:30 candle, right? So we opened 9:30. We opened 9:30 at 54.32, right? And VWAP at this point was sitting at 55.90, right? So I knew we had an opportunity to move back down. And if you guys remember this play on Wednesday that I took, the thing that I mentioned on this play was that I was looking for a move on Coin, right, all the way back down. Let me zoom back out here so you guys can see it a little bit clearer. I was looking for a move all the way back down. First, I was looking for a move down to our opening print, right? So basically here's where I was looking for opening print candle down here. So we got that target. We hit that down here to the downside. And I think by this point, our contracts were up 40-50% here. Once we got to the opening print range, look what happened, right? So if I put a level here, and again, guys that are joining, we're just going over a coin trade that we took on Wednesday in the room. Ended up going 300%, but I want to show you how we got it and how I stayed in this trade and how I realized that. A lot of people in the room ask, how do you get these percent gains? How do you How do you find these? How do you stay in them? And hopefully this little excerpt here will show you how I find these. So again, through VWAP, first target on coin was going to be opening print, right? We got opening print and we closed through it on the 5 minute. Then these next two 5 minute candles, 1045, 1050, what happens, right? Well, buyers try to push it up, sellers push it down, buyers try to bring it back up, and it's a doji candle. So no one was in control. But what did it tell me about this trade that we were in so far, where we were shorting from this VWAP close on coin? Well, we couldn't get over opening print, which means sellers are here. Now buyers didn't step in all the way, right? Because they didn't take it all the way back up, and sellers didn't really sell too much in control because we couldn't stay, we couldn't push it down. It was a doji candle. So I wanted to see one more candle to see what would happen here with coin. Well, again, look at what this candle is, right? Candle with a body on the bottom and a wick on the top. What does that mean? It means that sellers were far more in control than buyers here, right? Because buyers tried to push it up for a second time over our opening print, right? And then pulled it back down. Sellers took control. And then what happens after that? We failed opening print. We broke through opening print at 1040, failed opening print at 1045, failed it again at 1050. And then what happens? We go all the way down to our next key level, which was my first profit target. If you remember, 51.45. We came all the way down to it, right? So subsequently, a move from 56.98 all the way down to 41.45, all before noon, right? 11:40, basically here, 10:30 to 11:30, we hit our target, right? In 1 hour, we hit our target, and we were down about $7. These contracts were up well over 100%. I think sitting at like 180%, I think, was on this move down here. We were up very, very big on this move. Weekly contracts, this is a Wednesday, so within an hour, we dropped $7. We kind of sniped that entry, but this is how I stayed in it, right? And so I scaled a lot at this profit target. What I do is I find targets that I like, key levels, and I am really good at my key levels. So what I like to do is play my contracts until we get to those key levels, right? So we come down to the key level, I sell some, take a chunk out, we start to push back up, but we can't push up to our opening print, which means we're still weak, right? We're failing to get back up to opening print. So I hold on to the contracts. I'm still holding, I scaled a lot here, but I said I'm going to hold some, and this could be a swing for me because now that we've broken down under that opening print, we rejected that key level. If we break down through 41.45, right, I was in the $50 puts. I was looking for a move down to the $50 psych level, right? This is what I was preaching all day long. If we fail 51.45, we'll get 50, right? So we come back down, and here at 1:15 Eastern, we try again to break through 51.45. We can't do it. We kind of chop around this area. Again, buyers and sellers, no one really took control just yet. And then bam, right here. 3:25, going into power hour, last 30 minutes of the day, what happens? We go from 51.45 all the way down to, the low here, right? Let's see if I can grab it. 50, right? So third profit target hit. Enter a short here, looking for opening print. Here's our opening print. There's number one. Second profit target is 51.45. There's profit target number two. I mentioned all day here when we're holding these that I'm going to swing some because if we lose this, we're going to 50. Meanwhile, Bitcoin started to sell off, and we dropped all the way to $50, right? And then I swung some of these overnight. Zoom over here, show you guys, zoom out a little bit. And I told everyone my next target on coin was going to be this 48.08 spot. And we came all the way down the next day. We wicked all the way down to 48.36. So we were close, 20 cents off or so, give or take 25 cents. So we became pretty close. Ty said, why did I buy more contracts when it couldn't bounce off of 54.10? I bought contracts here when we lost VWAP, and I was playing from here, right? This was my entry. I was playing from here all the way down. I think I bought these $50 puts at like 50 cents. If you go back and look at the floor, I think it'll show you 50 cents was my entry. And we took them all the way to $2.50 the next morning. Just in less than 24 hours. So 400% move very, very quickly, but simply just playing level to level. So I hope that helps. If you guys identify these key levels, it's very easy to stay in trades. and it gives you a barometer of where this trade can go, like where you can look for it to go to. So again, that's the coin recap from Wednesday, guys. Buy puts on the rejection of VWAP, the key level. We have profit targets on the way down that we're looking for. We scale at those, and we realize a 400% trade the next morning. Yeah, exactly, Blossom. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love on that. Let's look at Google real quick, guys. Google's another one that we played. I don't want to go over Netflix because we flushed that one. That one's kind of hard to look at from like a recap standpoint. But what I do want to show you guys is Google and how well Google has been playing off of its levels. So let's go to Friday, right? Here's Thursday. You can see how well Google played off of its levels, right? 90.77 is my level, $90.77 in pre-market, 90.80, bounced off of there, all the way up to our next level, 92.95, right? We wicked up to 92.90, so I was 5 pennies off, rejected back down, pushed back up through our level, right? Confirmed our level, pushed back up again. Oh, look, and there's another buyer exhaustion candle, right, on this 5-minute that we just talked about on coin. Through a key level, I would expect that buyers are getting exhausted, sellers are stepping in, and then boom, they sell us back down to this level, right? Not a huge move, less than $1, but level to level here, this is a move, right? Sell back down, we base here, look for a move up, and that's what we got. That's Thursday. Let's talk about Friday's trade on Google. Friday's trade on Google went 150%. Then we had another trade that went 180% on Google. Happened a couple times here. So here's Friday, guys. Here's what I'm watching Friday on Google. This is the 5-minute chart. This is what I'm watching here. When I alerted this chart or this trade, I was actually on the 2-minute time frame. So let me switch over to 2-minute. Okay. 2-minute time frame. Let me flip my EMAs on here. Okay. So, guys, on Google, what I was looking for here on Google when I took Google calls, I was looking at the $98 calls on Google, right? This is where I enter these calls at. This is the 2-minute time frame. You can see we put in from 9:38 all the way to 9:54, 2-minute green candles, bam, 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 over key levels too. And I missed this first one over this key level, but that's okay. Because like you always hear me say on Twitter, in the Discord, wherever it's at, we don't need the whole move. We just need a piece of the pie. And let me show you why, right? Could I have bought in calls down here and rode this all the way up to high a day? Sure. Would they have went absolutely crazy? Sure. But do I need that? No. And here's why. We were in a broader uptrend, right, on Google. All the way up. Boom, 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 boom. All the way up, right? Then we start to pull back. So what is this? This is a broader uptrend with a minor pullback, right? And this is trend structure. This is what you like. This is what you hear people say when they talk about price action trading. Trend structure, right? Higher highs, higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows. And then we broke down through that and we didn't have trend anymore, right? But if you had proper trend structure, it'd be higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, we'd push to higher high, have a higher low, push to a higher high, and get up to our $100 psych level, right? We just couldn't get past this $99.15 mark. Okay, so what happened was here is we were in this broader uptrend and I saw a pullback opportunity right here on the 13 EMA. On the 2-minute time frame, I like to use this 13 to give me trend structure and see if we're holding trend. And what did we get here? Just like I talked about those buyer exhaustion candles with the wicks to the upside, which are typically bearish, and we could see a push down from those wicks. This case, we get a wick to the downside, which means that sellers tried to step in, right, and buyers defended right at the EMA because we were in this broader uptrend. So for me, I alerted $98 calls here, right, because we're sitting at $97.79. And I said, I really like the way this candle's shaping up. I'm going to take $98 calls here because I think that if we can push, these 98s will go in the money and we'll get a new high a day. And what I'm looking for here, right, my eyes are glued to this $100 mark, right, this profit target of 100. because that's a key level that I have on Google, $100.30. So for me personally, what I'm looking at is, can I buy $98 calls down here, 20 cents away from being in the money, number one, on a Friday? And then number two, upside targets for me are these things going $2 in the money if the market has strength. And at this point, Google did have some strength over the past couple of days. Relative strength was kind of in Google. I've been watching it, right? So I alerted the room on live. I said, look, I'm taking these $98 calls. My stop is going to be a candle close under this 13 EMA. And boom, they went 150%, right? So we entered here at 10:02 by 10:26, basically 24 minutes, 150% on a Friday, right? So again, this proves to you that I don't need the entire move. I don't need all of this move. I just need a piece of this move, right? You don't need the whole pie. You just need a piece of pie. Okay, so that was the first trade on Google, right? And then we broke down through it, lost trend structure. So I was out most around that 150. And what I do, guys, is I trail my stops. So when we start to push down through, I close out, right? And that's how I do it. But if you look, here at the 2 minute, there's just let me show you guys some price action things here real quick. I'll just show you. I do see a bear flag here on the 2 minute. Right, here's a bear flag setting in. So these are just things that you guys can play on these time frames as well, right? This is typically what a bear flag looks like, right? An upside down flag, considered a bear flag, and then we dump out of it, right? Matt, Friday the day I was not on voice. Yeah, QQQ calls went 600%, Google 150%. And then, interestingly enough, here's what happened on Google, right? So if you missed this move on Google, let me go to the 5 minute here because this will tell you a better story. If you missed this initial move on Google, I hate that it does that. Sorry about that. If you missed the initial rip on Google, what you could have done was, again, pay attention to where our key levels are. Before we even started the day, we knew that 97.50 was a key level. We went over it in pre-market huddle like we do every single morning when we talk about the key levels in stocks that we're watching for the day. We knew that 97.50 was going to be a key level, right? And what happened after we had this trade that went 150%, I still had eyes on Google because I knew that if we were going to sell, we're selling right back to a key level that I have, 97.50, right? And by the way, what else is at 97.50? VWAP, right? Volume weighted average price. So what does that mean? That means that we have an indicator that we use, VWAP in this case, lining up with a key level at 97.50. That gives us more confirmation. It kind of gives us a little bit more confidence to take a trade, and we have a well-defined risk limit, right? If we cannot close over 97.50, or under, if we can't close over VWAP or this key level here, that's our risk limit, right? If we lose VWAP, if we lose this key level, let's not go long. But if we hold this is a good opportunity to go long, right? And so one of the guys in the room, I mentioned this was a good opportunity. I didn't take it. I should have taken it. I didn't take it. One of the guys in the room took it for 80 to 100%, I think. Just this move right here, right? 97.50 all the way back up to basically 98.50, right? Because it was in 11:10 to 11:35. Again, 25 minutes. So 25 minutes to make 150%, 25 minutes to make 100%. And that's just scalping key levels and having, chart awareness, right? This is the 5 minute time frame, Steve. So that, 150%, 100%, very, very easy to scalp these things with well-defined risk, right? And then same thing, one guy at the end of the day was watching it again. Here's VWAP, closed right on it, wick down below it, closed over VWAP, closed over our key level, and we pushed all the way to 97.50, essentially, 97.42. Sorry, 99.42. So basically a $2 move, right, from 125 into close, $2 push to the upside. So those 98s went, crazy again, and they closed $1.42 in the money. Okay, so that's just some recaps that I wanted to show you guys on some names that we traded this week. We traded them extremely well, and like you guys always hear me say, I'm not worried about us finding the winners. It's about how you manage these losers that we're going to come across, right? Because I did have a loss this week on Friday. I had a loss on Amazon, but I kept it at 20% loss, and it was on live. I told everyone, this is what I'm trying. It was $96 calls on Amazon. I stopped out at 20%. But at the same time, I took Netflix 100%. I took these Google Plays 150%, and then we took QQQ 500%. Someone asked where my 97.50 level came from. Let's zoom out. I'm wondering if it came from pre-market. I think it was a pre-market level. Yeah, pre-market level. Always when you come into the day, if you don't have a good basis on where your levels are at, or if you don't have good levels coming in, at a minimum, what I tell people to do is mark 4 levels coming into the day every single day. If you're learning levels to start, mark your pre-market high, your pre-market low, your prior day high, and your prior day low. Right? So for me, what I'm going to look at now is pre-market high. I'm okay with my level here at 130, even though we hit 100 in the after hours on Google. I'll keep my 130, but I will add another level tomorrow, depending on where pre-market high and low is. But I know going into into tomorrow, what I'll do here, I'll actually move this 96.20 level. I'm going to move it right here where we basically 96, where we got a big candle off of here on the 15 minute, right? So I'm just going to use this as like my downside level tomorrow on Google, because I'm going to say this was quote unquote my Friday lows, basically 96 bucks. Friday highs, right? I could put a level in here basically at 99.50. I'm not going to put one in here. This comes with time, but the reason I'm not putting one in here is because we're so close to that 100 level that I think the 100 level has more meaning than a prior day high at 99.50, which is really, really close to that 100 psych level. So I'm going to use the 100 as my upside level here. But yeah, if we break down tomorrow on Google, right, downside levels that I'd be watching are 97.50, then yesterday's low at $96, then, right, Thursday's high basically at 94.42, right, and then a key level from Thursday, 93.59, 92.95, and then I'd look for that $90.77 mark to drop to the bottom, right, to drop out. Thomas says, do you care about larger time frame support and resistance levels, or are you just using previous day high and low pre-market levels for trading? So I use a little bit of everything. Typically, I'm not just using prior day high, low, and pre-market high and low. These levels come from 15, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour charts, and I did a class a few weeks ago. If you guys are in premium, you can watch the recording of that. Of how I define key levels and how to trade off of key levels. That's how we caught coin for 300%. We caught it for 500% the week before. QQQ actually went 600% for me on Friday off of a key level. So yeah, I mean that's kind of, you know, here's the key level on QQQ, right? 15-minute, got a hammer candle basically on our key level. This is where we had a lot of news going on QQQ. And I mentioned, I said this was an area that I was watching for potential move up on Qs if we could hold 279.16, which was a key level that I had. So we held this level. And by the way, this is a level on QQQ, 279.16. Let me find it for you guys. See where I got this level from. Sorry, I'm zooming out now a little bit, but I think it came from around here at some point back in January 12th. There was something going on in here. If you look at lower time frames, this level, we couldn't get over it here. Then we got over it, right? We came back down. This 279.16 was a big spot for me, and it played out really, really well here if you look at the 30-minute, right? I mentioned to everyone that when we started to push my upside levels, and again, I've had these levels for weeks, guys. I've been going over with you guys for these in the room for weeks. The nice thing about trading in all these ranges is that we don't have to change our levels that much. We can keep our levels the same, right? So when we held 276, I said next level to the upside I'm looking for is 277.67, right? Because on Wednesday, that's where we kind of held, right? 277.67, we held that area. And I said I'd look for us to take that level, and if we take that, then I'm looking for 279.16. Well, what happens, right? We wick down over 276, we push back up, we get that next level. Right? We come back down, we wick down, we push up, we get that next level. We come back down, we wick up, we're on that level, we come down, and this is when the news was happening, right? We had a Fed speaker on Friday, wick down, came up, and I said on the 15-minute chart, if we can hold 279.16, we're going to see a move up, and I'm looking for 281.86 first, then I'm looking for 282.85. Right? And we ultimately got 283. And so I sold these at the very top ticked it. Not often you can do that. But if you guys were on live with me on Friday, I don't know if we have the recording of it, but I sold it right here. As soon as we got to that last level, I sold my remaining contracts, my runners, at 590% up here. And again, what do you guys see there? Buyer exhaustion candle, right? At a key level. Couldn't get over our key level, came back down. I said I'm out, and we came down. Now, we did go make another high day, but being that it was end of day, theta starts to set in on these 0 days, so I was happy with 600%. I got out, and that was the end, right? So that's how you trade level to level, guys. That's what I did. Level to level trading. That's how it worked. Yeah, Jaden, those long wicks are buyer exhaustion, or if you see long wicks on the bottom, let me find one. Long wicks on the bottom typically mean buyers are present, right? So I would expect to see a move up. Now, we did pull down, but then we pushed up, right? Here's another one. Long wick on the bottom. Now, again, this was when we had a Fed speaker, so this one's kind of hard to look at. But typically, big wicks to the bottom. The one that the good example I'll show you real quick, and then I'll move on to the watch list for this week. Long wicks on the bottom are typically buyer candles, right? So look at Google's 5-minute. We cracked over a key level, came up, and then we started to sell off, right? All we were doing was they were just profit takers. You guys have to think about the market much like we do any other stock or any security that you're trading, anything that you're trading, buying or selling. Typically, buyers are looking to get a good price, right, around a level that they like, that they think is fair. They're going to buy. Sellers, right, are going to sell once it gets past their profit target. So if I'm holding common shares of Google, think about the way we trade options like people typically would trade commons, where you don't have to worry about theta, right? If I buy a share at 96, my profit target, if I'm using my levels, is going to be 97.50. If I'm scalping commons, right, 97.50, then I'm looking for the next level upside, which is that $100.30 mark. But what happens when we get over these key levels? Right? We get through these key levels, and people that bought shares at $96, all of a sudden, when we're up at $98.50, they're up $2.50 per share. Let's say they bought 100,000 shares, right? Now they're up major. What are they going to do? They're going to start to sell some, right? So they're going to sell back to these key levels. And what's going to happen? The people that maybe didn't get in down here that want to go long and scalp commons on Google, or the people that just sold their shares up here that want to continue to ride the wave to the next profit target, are going to buy shares at, you guessed it, the next key level that we just broke through, that we're retesting now, 97.50, right? So we came all the way down to 97.63, right? 13 pennies away from our key level, buyers started to step in and rode it back up. Same thing here, right? 97.50, buyer stepped in, rode it back up. 97.50, key level, buyer stepped in, rode it all the way up. Right? So think about buyers and sellers of commons much like you would on an options contract. And I know it's hard with options. It's a little bit easier with futures to scalp level to level because you don't have to worry about theta. Theta can start to kick in. Like, for example, if we just chop here, all day long, all day long, all day long, and then we finally get this move to 130, an options contract probably is not going to be as valuable doing that than if we could get there, at a relatively nice pace. But if it just takes all day to get there, theta is going to start to set in. Theta is time on the Greeks, and that will hurt the value of your contract the closer you get to expiration. But people ask, how do you stay in trades longer? How do you get these real, the percentage gains that you get? Number one, I scale and I trail, and then I have upside and downside targets. I don't enter a trade without knowing where I'm trying to take this to. Like, I have an objective of where I want to go. I know where my risk limit is, like how much I'm willing to risk on this trade to the downside, how much I'm willing to lose. But when I take it, I have an idea of where I want this trade to go and where I'm going to start to look to scale profits at. So if you guys hear me on live every day, you'll hear me say, I'm in, here's what I'm looking for to the upside or to the downside, whether we're playing calls or puts, right? And that's why, because I'm looking to take advantage of the moves to those levels and capitalize on the premium changes to those options contracts, right? Going from $1 to $1.50 to $2, right? And seeing a 50 or 100% move. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so that's a quick little recap, guys. Spent about half of our time tonight recapping over some of the trades we took on Friday. What I want to do is talk about now about what's going on in the market this week. I mentioned we have big earnings coming up. A lot of big names this week. Tesla, Microsoft, some really big names coming up this week. So we are going to have to keep those on watch. And I do expect a lot of volatility coming into the markets this week. SPY also, you guys see that major ripper that we had on SPY. Similarly, like we had on QQQ, everything pretty much rallied on Friday. So what I'm looking for here, let's go back out to the daily chart, guys, and let's revisit SPY and where we're at. Okay. So I have a lot of levels on here. I'm not going to take these levels off. I want to leave these levels on, but what I want to show you guys is kind of what's happening here on SPY. Let me zoom out real quick, and then I'll zoom back in. So sorry if this hurts your eyes a little bit. Promise I won't keep it out zoomed out this long. And for those asking about certain names and charts, we can definitely look at those. We'll take a look at them. All right, we're getting tight here on the daily, guys. This is what I wanted to look at. See if I can drag this up a little bit. There we go. So this is what I'm watching here on the daily, guys, on SPY. I have seen a couple people point out that the fact that there's like an inverse head and shoulders, they kind of mark like the head here, shoulder here, shoulder here. I've seen that. I understand what they're saying, and I see how it kind of lines up here with this 400 psych level. I'm just not convinced. I mean, upside targets for me, like if we do break out of this trend, I would expect us to kind of hit this area right here, this 408 area, right? This is what I'm kind of looking for. 408 really to like 412 is what I'd be targeting if we make a move up. Anywhere between 408 to 412, it would be an upside target if we break this daily downtrend and we can get over 400. I would be probably kind of comfortable swinging 408 to 412 like that with a profit target of that, right? Upside targets on this obviously being up in the 416, possibly even 420 area before we come back down. But you guys can see here on the daily how big this 420 area is, right? 418, 420 back here, right, in 2021. This is where we kind of hovered right down in here. Then you can see as we came over here, we kind of hovered. We hovered in here as well, kind of beginning of 2022 in January. And then again here when we lost this level kind of in August, right? We started to sell off from this level. When we lost 420 last, we basically came all the way down to 385 relatively quickly. Similarly, when we rejected 408 last time, we made our way down relatively quickly to 374, right? So I would expect, even with this big green candle, that if we can stay in this range, it's going to be a nice move down. And so I think a lot of it's going to be dependent on what happens with companies' earnings this week, because we do have an action-packed earnings week. So that's going to be top watch for me, number one. It's just what's happening in the broader earnings market. We also have PCE this week, so we're going to have to pay attention to that. And I think markets will tell us. Markets will dictate, what they think about it, and we'll see how the markets react to it. But I wanted to show this to you guys because, like you always hear me say, chart awareness is huge. It's not always looking at a 5-minute chart and not always looking at a 15-minute chart. Sometimes you got to zoom out and kind of see where we are from a macro perspective. And right now, this is where we are. Right, we're coiling. We're range bound, which is why I've been telling you guys for the last 3 weeks, right, going all the way back to really almost a month, I'd say. For about a month here, we've been playing these levels on SPY, and we've been playing them relatively well, right? 400 all the way down to essentially what levels is 370, 375, 376, right? Basically $25 a range for the last month on SPY, and we've been playing level to level really, really well. So I know it's not as fun when we don't have a lot of range. But I think the daily levels the levels we've been playing every day on SPY and QQQ have been really, really good. So what that tells me is that gives us an opportunity as traders to take advantage of that, right? Sorry, all these lines are hurting my eyes. I know they're hurting your guys' eyes too. I don't mind being in a chop range if we're going to play the levels and respect those levels. Where it becomes difficult is when we're in a chop range and we stop respecting those levels. But as of right now, we're respecting levels very, very well. And so until something breaks, we're going to continue to play the levels that we've been playing for the last month, essentially, on SPY, on QQQ, on Netflix, on Tesla, names like that. So just wanted to talk to you guys about that. So here, let's take a look at SPY real quick. Uh, Basically, I'll give you guys my levels just so you have them, right? I'm going to put these in the room tomorrow morning. I'll chart these all out for you guys. Upside levels, 400. I just told you about what I'm looking for if we break 400 to the upside from there. We have to get over 397 to make a move to 400. If we can't get over 397, we're right back to 395.60, which is where we rejected when we made that push. Similarly, on QQQ, when we rejected that 283 area, right? 395.60 is big on SPY. If we lose 395.60, it's 393.66, 392.51, 390.90, 390, 388, 386.81, 385.19, 384.14, and then 380. Downside from that, right, it's going to be like that 377, 375. I took some levels out of here to make it a little less of a headache to look at. But as always, guys, I'll post these levels for you in the morning tomorrow in verified floor, so you guys have these levels. You can add them to your chart. But that's what I'm really watching on SPY. Let's talk real quick about Tesla. I want to take a look at Tesla because we do have earnings this week. This one's going to be interesting. I think a lot's going to be dependent on what Elon says with earnings. I do expect that numbers are going to be down on Tesla. We've seen a lot about factory plants in China having delays, supply chain distribution issues. So I would expect that delivery numbers are down. I would like to hear the company's guidance and really their comments on their pricing strategy and how they've started to do rebates and things like that. I think that's really interesting. Overall, the used car market has started to go down a lot across all different names. If you guys remember 6 months ago, like there were no cars on any lot because people weren't trading in their cars. I think when the interest rates went up, people weren't really trading in cars because it was going to cost them a lot to get into a new car. And the used value on cars was super, super high, right? So people, I think, were a little hesitant to trade in a car because they were trading in and going to have to pay a lot more than what their car was, even though they could make a lot on their car if they sold it. Dealerships were having a hard time getting cars, right? And so used car prices were through the roof because when there's not a lot of supply, they have to increase their prices to hit those margins. So I think that's why you saw used car prices go through the roof. There was also the chip issue going on too. So all those things kind of combined, not to get too far into the macroeconomic landscape of it, but what I'm trying to say is that used prices are now down. Tesla prices are down, car prices are down all around. So I would like to hear them, hear what their thoughts are on that. And then what I'm really, 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 really interested in hearing is what Elon has to say about Twitter. I think, I don't know if he's going to say anything on the Tesla conference call about that, but I think Tesla investors, and I would be wrong, I could be wrong, but I would think that the analysts that are on this earnings call that are covering Tesla for Wall Street, right, for the firms, are going to ask Musk what's going on Twitter because that's what everybody wants to know, right? You guys saw how Tesla stock reacted when everything happened with Twitter. Tesla and Twitter were basically inverse of each other, right? Which makes sense. If your CEO is thinking about going and using time, money, focusing his efforts into a new company, naturally investors would feel like their company that they're invested in is going to start to slip a little bit. And, it did, right? Tesla went all the way from $250 down to $100 a share. And I don't think that it's all because of the broader economic landscape. I think a lot of that had to do with Tesla and where his focus was and the fact that he was selling shares. And there was a lot going on with this, right? And so what I'm interested to see is what he says about Twitter. We've heard talk. There's been multiple reports. Nothing's been confirmed yet. I think it's just been sources have been giving reports to different people on the street that he has thought about some successors at Twitter. Has thought about bringing in some people. He's also thought about bringing in some successors at Tesla. That was another report, right? That there was the potential to have a new CEO at Tesla. So this earnings call is going to be very, very interesting for me. Upside levels for me on Tesla, if we can break over this 370.50 spot, I'm looking for 143.28, 145.77, and ultimately 150. If the earnings call, if guidance is well on the earnings call, and Elon can swoon over investors like he always tries to do on these earnings calls, Tesla can get right back to 150. But if it does, I'm going to be waiting there like a hawk because of what's happened last time Tesla hit 150. And let's take a look and I'll show you. Here we go, right? So back in December, right, we started selling. Here we go, right? December 19th, breakthrough 150. What happens? By December 20th, right? Our low is 137.66. 150 is a huge spot on Tesla. I would expect us to reject this 150 spot if we move up. But you see here, right? See how we're moving on the 4 hour? Again, I know this probably hurts your eyes a little bit, but hopefully you guys can see and bear with me here. We're trending, right? We're just riding a trend here on Tesla on the 4 hour. Check out this trend line, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, higher high, higher low. Not the perfect trend. Let me take off extended and see what it looks like now. There we go. Here's no extended hours. A little bit easier to see. But we're just trending, right? We're just on this trend ever since coming down and bottoming at 101.82. So naturally, if earnings are good, right, I could see us making a move up, but you guys see how these key levels have reacted. 137.35, why I have these key levels up here. Rejection, support, 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 bam, we break through, right? Now it's resistance, 137.35. So that's first spot. Then I mentioned those levels the upside, but I would look for 150. Upside target is going to be 150 for me, 145 to 150. If we reject 150, I'd look for a move back down to this 101, right? I think that this could be one where it could be a pop and curl moment on Tesla, you know, pop up from earnings and curl. We could get an earnings run up this week, so keep on watch this week for an IV run up on Tesla. That could be something that happens as well. Going into earnings, you know, like I talked about, IV, you know, starts to move on earnings because there's a binary event coming, which means naturally prices of those options are going to start to become more expensive. There's going to be more value built into them. Market makers are going to make them a little bit more expensive because of the implied move into that binary event. So I would expect that we would start to see a little bit of pump into the earnings. But yeah, Thursday afternoon is going to tell us all about Tesla. Be really, really interesting. So this is one that I'm watching, guys. Again, key levels that I have on this, I just gave you my upside target levels. The downside target levels are the same ones that we've been talking about in Discord all week. I'll continue to post those in Discord like I have been, but we've been on these levels basically for the last month on Tesla, right? So let's turn extended back on. Let's go back to the 5, and then let's go to the daily. I want to show you a chart that I like, and I saw another name on Twitter on it. I haven't charted it yet, so this will be a naked chart for me, but let's chart it together and I'll show you what we're looking at. This is Zillow, okay? And last time we did one like this, it was Home Depot, and these contracts went 180% on the same day of the breakout. So you guys hear me say it all the time, right? You hear me talk about consolidation, and what is consolidation and how does it work, right? Consolidation, what I like to say, this you could also maybe consider this a bull flag if you wanted to, right? Kind of looks like a flagpole. This is consolidation. This is a big move from $30.89 at the end of the year, December 30th, all the way up here, and we've been trading basically in this range, right, from, let's just zoom in and look. Oh, it's not going to let me zoom in all the way. I'll do it. 41.45 to 43.54, so $2 worth of range, right? Massive, massive consolidation after we made a move from $31 all the way up to 43, right? This is very, very small chop range here, which means, if you guys remember my analogy that I use for consolidation, what is consolidation and how do we link that to something that happens in life or that we've all been a part of? A game of tug of war, right? So for me, consolidation means that buyers are trying, sellers are stepping in. Buyers are trying again, sellers are stepping in. Sellers continue to step in, buyers step in here. Sellers step in again, buyers step in. Buyers step in, right? This is what I'm looking for. When this range breaks, it's going to be like a game of tug of war, right? When the sellers let go of the rope, buyers are going to absolutely explode this name, right? When buyers let go of the rope, sellers are going to absolutely explode this name. right? And first profit target I'd probably be looking for is back down in here at this 37.50 mark. Probably coming down here first to be more realistic. Right about here, 39.45. In fact, while I have you guys on here, let me just go ahead and mark these levels. You know, first level I'd be looking for 39.45. If we lose that level, then, you know, looking down here, basically at 37.50. Downside levels that I'm looking. There's got to be upside levels as well here because I know. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Matt says CC is a rally base. Yeah, I mean, definitely could be. But I'm not in the game of predicting, right? So I will I'll refrain from predicting my first target here. You guys see where I'm getting these levels at, right? These daily wicks up here, and then I'll add another wick up here at 46.04, 46.07, whatever. But this is kind of what I'm going to watch here on Zillow. So this is a top watch for me this week. Z, ticker Z, Zillow, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to set price targets here because these ranges are so tight. This is like a $2 range. I'm not setting a price target. I'm just going to be watching this ticker all week long, and I'm going to be watching this. So what that means is that when we break through these levels, let me show you guys how it worked. Well, I have to go back to another day on this. Basically, how this is going to work is if we break this intraday, what I'm going to look for on the 5-minute, let me just go here and show you. On the 5-minute time frame, what I'm going to look for, right, is for us to trend up here, up, 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 break over, retest, and go, right? Break over, retest, go. Downside, it's going to be the exact same thing, right? Break under, retest, drop. That's what I want to see. So that's how I'm going to be playing Zillow, guys. I think this is a great setup, one that really makes a lot of sense. I really like this setup. Last time this setup presented itself on Home Depot, weekly contracts went 180% on that same day. So this is where you guys hear me talk about preparation on the weekends leads to success in the week. This is an example right here, right? This is an example where we just watch this all week, and you can set your price alerts if you want to. I mean, you can set your alerts up here as close as you can to this, like, here, I'll just go ahead and set them so you can see how I'm doing it. To create an alert at 43.48, upside level is 43.54, so I'm just going to set my alert. And then I'll set another one to the downside at 41.45. So price above this, price below 41.45. There we go. I think that's the right. Oh no, I need to set it for like 41.83. Let's change it real quick. 41.83. There we go. So now my price alerts are set. So this is an example of my brokerage working for me, right? So I don't have to watch this all day, but I will have it on. But for those of you that don't want to watch it, just set your price targets, and when it hits, take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, step away from whatever you're doing and watch it. And when we break through this level, you buy the retest, right? This is an idea. You buy the retest, and then you take it to the next level. You buy the retest to the downside, and you take it to the next level, right? That's all we're doing. We're just reacting to when it breaks through a consolidation range, because for the last 6 days, we've been stuck in a $2 range, right? So I would expect this move out to be pretty violent when we break out of it, okay? So that's going to be a top watch for me tomorrow. Someone wanted me to chart SQ. Let's take a look at SQ. And then Nick, we'll look at Silvergate as well for you. All right, guys. Here's SQ. We talked about this in the room a couple times, right? I mentioned to you guys, this was back when we were right here. We started to break out. This was beginning of January. I mentioned this. I said, look at this wedge setting up on SQ. This is this is a nice wedge that's setting up here for a potential move to the upside, right? Well, we broke out, and what happened? Broke out, retested again, and we launched, right? So this is an example where option swing trading can benefit those of you that maybe don't have the time to look at charts all day long from a day trading perspective, right? You just don't have the time or you don't have the resources to be able to day trade because you're working full-time jobs and whatnot. This is where you could come in here and you could start to swing trade. And what I mean by swing trading is you're not trading something and closing it out that same day. You're buying something today, and maybe you're taking May contracts, maybe you're taking April contracts, but you're expecting to move up in SQ, right, over these levels. And by the way, let's put some more upside levels here, because if we break this, I want to be able to play it. You're looking for moves on SQ. Put one there and right there. Right, I'm using this wick and this candle body as an upside target, and then I'm using candle body, broke through. So for SQ though, this is what you're looking for though, right? Like you're looking for these moves out of this wedge to the upside. You could have swung calls to the upside here, but that's what I see on SQ. Keep in mind though, like if we can't get over the 76, whatever level I have here, 76.33. If we can't get over that, we're gonna head back to this 74.90. And if we can't get over that, then I think we make a move back down at least to this level here. I'll give you my downside targets on SQ. You guys see how clean these levels work though? 70, 71, 70. Look, held it, came through, rejection, right? Prior support becomes resistance. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Resistance, still resistance, finally got over, rejected one more time, and then bam. Right? Resistance, got over. So this 71.70 would be a big downside level for me to watch on SQ. One that I would pay attention to if I were you, if I was playing SQ. Underneath this, the level I probably watch is somewhere around in here at the $69 mark. I'll put this on my chart just so I have it in case we play it this week. I just want to make sure I have these levels so you guys can see where I'm putting my levels at on SQ. $69 to the downside is what I'd be looking for. So that's SQ. Again, I don't really see anything setting up right now from a daily perspective. Maybe like that Z play. Like I don't see any type of flag or anything like that. I just see overhead resistance, overhead supply. And we've made a really nice move from end of December, right, at this, what level were we at down here? Basically sitting at $58 all the way up to 76. Let's take a look at SI, Silvergate. Silvergate's a name that, really big short float, or really big flow on it, short. And I haven't really traded it, but if crypto starts to move, I would expect that Silvergate could make a nice move here. I just don't, I don't know what that move looks like. Don't know what's going to happen on that move, but this is a name that does have a gap to fill to the upside, and if that gap does happen, right, we could make a move all the way back up to 22 on SI. But I just don't know enough about SI to really give anyone a true, honest opinion of it. It does look like it's pretty bottomed out, so there could be a potential move to the upside here on SI. But I know that it's a Bitcoin name, so if Bitcoin starts to go, SI could work. But for me, it's not a name that I typically trade, and it's down a whole lot. So don't really have much commentary on SI, but figured I'd take a look at it. Look at Baba, and then we'll look at one more before we close things out tonight. Here's Baba. Really, really big moves on Baba so far. There's been some news with Jack Ma as well. So I don't know how that impacts it. But again, I don't typically trade China names that well. So all I see here on Baba, though, is that when we finally broke out over this, we did have a gap fill here. And it looks like we are going to try and fill that gap up. We almost did here. That 120.68 mark. We basically came, under $1 away from that. Upside targets for me though, I'm going to be looking at would definitely be this level up here on Baba, kind of where we got this wick, this 124.11. That's what I'd be looking for upside target. Um, first target probably 122.50. Then I'd be looking for 124.26, and then above that, probably looking over here 129.52. Let me just go ahead and mark those levels while I have you guys listening. So 122.51 first spot. Next spot I'm watching. Sorry, there we go. 126, and then above that, really looking for that 129.23 area. That's what I'd be looking for on Bob on the way up. So I've got my levels here. I do have price alerts. I don't know why I have these alerts set. I'll keep the alerts there because I had them set for a reason. Don't know why. I'll keep them there as we are approaching those key levels. I'm going to take this one off though. But yeah, so that's Baba. Really nice moves though. A lot of consolidation here around this 87 mark, and we kind of launch from there. So naturally, if we do start to sell back under 100, I would look for this to be an area of confluence at that $87 range that we would get to, especially right if we drop through 97. Because look at this, we just gapped. If we can break down through 97, I think 87 comes pretty quickly on Baba. A lot of the Chinese names are, dependent on China news, China government, things like that. There's a lot of extra factors that go into that. So last name we'll look at is UPST. This is a name that we played really well recently. We can't even look at the daily chart though because it's so beat down. Let's look at the 15-minute. This is the name that I still like. I still like these growth names because these are good names to play, guys. If you have a smaller account and if you're not as comfortable playing 0 DTE, you can play names like UPST that respect the key levels really well, right? Let me add another level here. These are names that you can play that respect their key levels historically, typically well, right? And so they're weekly contracts, so they're not going to move as quick as a 0 day, and they're good to use in that sense because you have time on your hands, so it's not going to be as violently moving against you. But you can still see really nice percentage gains. Like UPST last week, I think we took it 300%. Coin, we took 300%, 500%. So you can still make really good percentage gains off weekly contracts. Don't let people tell you that you only have to play 0 DTE SPX to make some type of money. UPST is a really good one. So I don't really have a setup to show you on UPST other than the fact that this name has been playing its levels extremely well that we've identified. And I'll continue to identify these levels and post these for you guys in the verified floor in the room. Even though I've posted these multiple times, you guys should have all these levels if you're following my levels. But this one is in the verified floor. If you go back and look, if you just search UPST, you'll see this level in this chart with all these levels on here in the room. So we are at time. I like to be respectful of your guys' time as well in the evenings. I know these things last about an hour. We started a couple minutes late, so we're ending just a couple minutes past the 10 o'clock Eastern hour here. That's really all I have for you guys. Again, I just want to reiterate to you guys that trading is a game of risk management, and the best losers win at trading. The best losers are the most successful traders out there. If you look at people who are successful day traders, it's because they're really good at losing. And again, what I mean by that is I'm not concerned about us finding the green plays. Look back at this week, right? We had 600% on QQQ, 1600% on SPY, right? 500% on Coin, 300% on Coin, 300% on a Tesla swing overnight. I'm not worried about us finding the big plays and finding winners because I think we're going to do that every single night or every single day. Every single week, we're going to have big plays. What keeps me up at night is how we manage our losses and how you guys manage your losses. If you can manage your losses and live to see another day, you're going to give yourself a chance when those big plays come around. But if you do something tomorrow, let's say you do something crazy tomorrow, like full port of 0 DTE and take your account down 50%. Well, now that's 50% less capital you can use on Tuesday if we enter a trade like Coin that went 500% last Wednesday, right? Like Always think about that. And when you look at like Whale Stream in our room, Whale Stream's a great flow service for options flow. He took a small account from 2.9K to 500K in 5 months, right? And how did he do it? Utilizing 15% of his portfolio for every trade that he took, no more. And the big thing that he always talks about is he lost small. He wasn't looking for home runs, right? He was just looking to get green on positions, and he would only let himself lose small. So I'll end this by telling you guys, when you enter a trade, make sure there's only three things that happen. You lose small, you win small, or you win big. If you tell yourself that you're never going to allow yourself to lose big on a trade, I promise you, you're going to grow your portfolio like crazy, because you are naturally going to run into these big plays that we get. But if you're doing crazy things and letting your losses become super big and unmanageable, you're not going to have enough capital to play these plays when we get them. Or it's going to happen like some people tell me, I didn't have that much money to play that play because I made a really poor decision the day before. So always make trades like you want to be able to trade tomorrow, right? If I take this trade, is it conductive to me? Or if I stop out of this trade right now, is it conductive to me trading well tomorrow? And if the answer is yes, then stop out of the trade. If the answer is no, then you've done something wrong, right? When you let a 15% trade go negative 30, negative 40, negative 50, let's get out of that mindset, right? Tomorrow we start a fresh week. Everyone's P&L for the week is 0 from a percentage basis. If you're red the first 2 months of the year, that's okay. We still have well over 230 days left to go. And remember, 5% of your portfolio on a $1,000 account for 250 straight days is $198 million, right? So you have time. Be patient. This is a marathon, not a sprint, right? We're going to get there. So with that, that's all I got, guys. Like I said, we'll be in the room tomorrow. We're going to be live trading this week for everyone. So tell your friends, tell your family if they want to come in and listen. We'll be live trading every single day this week. It's going to be open to everyone, open to the public. We'll open up the live stage this week for everyone. It's going to be a great time. Keep in mind, though, we do have class on Thursday night, Darth's swing trading class, swing trading options. He's going to talk about some price structure as well in that class. That's going to be a great class. Anything that Darth puts on is done really, really well. Hopefully you guys can make that. But if not, all the premium members, you guys will get the link to that as well. So you can go back and rewatch that, or you can rewatch it if you attended live as well. If you want to pick up some more tidbits, you could rewatch that too. If you guys wouldn't mind, also like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to start putting out some content here on the YouTube channel for you guys weekly that I think could be beneficial to you. And so if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button on this video and subscribing, would really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here. I know it's late, but hopefully, you guys putting in dedication like this on a Sunday night, listening in, trying to get better, trying to hone in on levels and things like that. It's going to pay dividends. Again, just make sure you're losing small and managing your risk. 2023, like I've been telling you guys, it's our Jordan year, right? So 23, it's the Jumpman year. It's the year that we can all elevate. I want nothing more than everyone in our room and everyone across FinTwit to be able to do that, even if you're not in the room. So as always, my DMs are open. If you guys need anything, you can DM me. I'll try and help you the best that I can. But would love to see you over in the room as well. Like I said, we'll be live trading this week. I'll put out a post about it. So I will catch you guys in the morning in the pre-market huddle at 9:15 if you're on the premium side. We'll be there. We'll share some ideas of things that are setting up in pre-market for some plays that we could take tomorrow morning, while also giving some levels that I have. I went over this tonight. We went over some levels, and we'll go over some more tomorrow morning as well. And with that, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening. Thank you, guys.